What's up, everybody, and welcome to part 4 of the kitchen table series of Making Stronger, The Beat by Kanye West. So where are we after part 3? Well, we've got our snare, our kick, our synth, and our bass parts, and we've done some stuff to kind of sweeten that sound. We've used some reverbs and some delays and some EQs to kind of process that sound. So what do we have left to do in this last part of the video? Well, we're going to bring in the sample by Daft Punk, that vocoded vocal sample that they did, that stronger, faster, robotic thing that's going on there. We're going to bring that in. We're going to lock it up with the rest of our MIDI information. And then we are also going to do our best Kanye West imitation, give ourselves a little reminder on how it is that we set up a track for recording audio, and we're going to become Kanye West for a minute, minus the bling and the ladies and the limousines and that kind of stuff. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to what we have so far. Let me just hit record on my handy wiretap device, and let's give a listen. Here we go. Okay, so that's what we got. Let's bring in our Daft Punk sample. And I've got that hooked up in a window here. There it is, Daft Punk. Harder, faster, better, stronger, some 4 things. Okay, I want to drag that down into this edit window, but I don't actually have any room left here. So I want to shrink up these tracks enough that I have some room to drag this new sample into. So we'll show you a little trick here. If you hold down the Option key and go to any track and put your cursor right in between 2 tracks so you get that little guy right there. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this here. Place your cursor in between any 2 tracks so you get that little icon right there. Hold down the Option key and click and drag. And what you're going to do when you do that is actually reduce the size of every track at once. Okay, that's what the Option key does for you when you're clicking or dragging on something. It actually applies whatever it is that you're doing to all of the different tracks at once. So if I hold down Option, I can show you again, all of the tracks get smaller when I resize. Cool. Okay, so now I've got some gray area to drag this down into. Let's get our sample into our session. I'm going to drag and I'm going to drop. And it thinks for a minute, does this thing. Come on, Pro Tools, figured it out. Where are you at? There it is. Okay. Now, where is the sample that we're looking for? Well, let's see. I think it's somewhere in here. Let's give a listen.
Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger than ever. Hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger.
That's before that. So
make it better, do it faster, makes
there it is. Okay, so here comes the sample that that Kanye actually used.
After hour, work is never over.
Start.
Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger than ever. After hour, work is never over.
Stop. So that's where we got 4 bars there. So again, let's find the starting point. It's where he says work it.
Hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better.
So it's that low work it right in there.
Over, work it harder.
That low work it. Okay, so a couple things. I'm going to drag down this track so I get a better view. I'm going to zoom in, and let's find that point
Work is
again.
never over. Work it harder.
Right there.
Work it.
Right where he says work it. Okay, so
Work it harder.
I can try tab to transients to, you might want to look up at the time here and notice it's at about 1 minute 11 seconds to help you figure out where that point is. I can try my tab to transients. I hit tab, it passed right over it. So this is one that I'm going to have to do manually. So I zoom in here. Let's give myself a little more of a view.
Work it harder. Work it harder.
And I can tell that, so it's tricky, right, this one. But here's where I can see that the waveform is shifting. Let me go into slip mode for this. right here is where I can see that the waveform sort of shifted to a new look, right? This little blob corresponds to.
Work it harder, make it better.
There it is. That's what I want. So right in there, let's do Command E for separate and zoom back out. And now I'm going to want 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, second bar, third bar, fourth bar. So again, right after he says never over, like super low, and then he goes back to work it again, that's where I got to cut it.
Work is never over. Work it.
So right in there, I tab in. Let's pull back a little bit. Let's try tab again and see where it takes me. Okay, that's where I want to be, right there. So I can see he's starting again with work it. So one more time, tab to transient. Whoops, wrong thing. Let's do that again. Command E, get rid of this other part. Zoom back out, get rid of the first part, and there's my 4-bar hunk. Let's give a listen to it to make sure we got the right hunk.
Work it harder, make it better.
Second
Do it
bar.
faster, makes us stronger.
Third bar.
After
Fourth,
hour,
2,
work is
3,
never
4.
Work it harder, make it better.
Cool. Turns around nicely, 4 bars long. We're ready to use this puppy. So let's take it back to the beginning here. And, okay, now I know that this piece of MIDI that I already made is 4 bars long, so I can see that right now this piece is playing too fast, right? So I'm going to have to get Pro Tools to slow it down for me, and I'm going to do that by changing, let's zoom in, my samples to ticks to keep it locked onto the grid, and then change it to polyphonic so I can make it stretchy. It thinks for a minute, comes to its senses, and now I can tell Pro Tools, hey Pro Tools, this is 4 bars long. How do I do that? Elastic properties. Go to source length, enter 4, hit return, and boom, it's the same length as all my other pieces now, okay? All right, now I downloaded this piece because it specifically was already in the pitch, in the right key to go along with this Kanye West song. The original Daft Punk sample was actually a whole step higher, but I was able to find the a cappella version of this Daft Punk song that Kanye actually used, so it's already in the right key. So if we play it together now with our other parts that we've already created, it sounds like this.
Work it harder, make it better. Do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever. After hour, work is never over. Work it harder.
I like it. Okay, so that takes care of our Daft Punk solo. We are almost done. The last thing that we need to do is imitate Kanye when he says, I need you right now. That's my best Kanye imitation. I need you right now. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, first of all, we have to create a track to record our audio onto, and we're going to create an audio track, not an instrument track. We're going to create an audio track because we're going to be actually recording. So I do Command Shift N, and I get my new track dialog. I'm going to make a mono audio track, hit create. Mono because I've only got one microphone, and it's not a stereo microphone. So I only need a mono track. Okay, so a couple things about how to set this thing up, first of all. Obviously, we need our microphone, and we need our XLR cord, which is right here. The XLR cord has its female connector, its female side, that's going to go to the microphone here. So I plug that in, and then I have my M box. So let's go over the settings for this. First of all, obviously, we're going to plug our microphone into the back of the M box into input 1. Now, you're not going to be using this kind of microphone. You're going to be using one of our Shure SM58s, the microphones that we've normally been using. And that means that we do not need 48-volt phantom power, this button right here. This button is pushed in for me because I need it. I'm using a condenser mic. If you're using the SM58, you don't need it. So all of these buttons in the back, all these white buttons, should be out. And then in the front, when it comes time to adjust the level of our microphone, this is the knob that we're going to be turning. Input 1, because remember that the microphone was plugged into input 1 in the back of our box. Okay? All right, so first I'm going to record arm or record enable the track that I want to record on. I need to tell Pro Tools, hey, when I hit record, record onto this track. So I hit the little red track record enable button, and as soon as I do, I can see that I have a little green level meter, which is kind of going up in response to my voice. I'm going to pull this track down so that I have like a bigger level meter that I can kind of see a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is turn up this level 1 preamp until the level that I'm looking at is going well up here into the yellow and even into the orange, but not hitting the red. So I'm going to be doing something like, I need you right now. That's not loud enough. I need you right now. I'm really sick of saying this. This is kind of embarrassing. Oops, I'm turning up input 2. Oops. Input 1 is what we need to turn up. Sorry, it's because I'm looking at it upside down, you know? I'm a little dyslexic. So I'm going to turn this up. I need you right now. I need you right now. I need you right now. And now I can see that I'm starting to get up into yellow. Okay, that's about the level that I'm looking for. That's a pretty good signal. Okay? All right. So now let me show you another trick. If we come up here to our record enable for the whole session and I hold down control and I click on it, first I get a little D, don't worry about that. Click on it again, still holding down control, and I get this loop. Now this means that I'm going to loop record. Well, what's the value of that? That means that I'm going to record over and over on the same selection, and that lets me continue to try and imitate Kanye until I feel I've got it. It's just going to keep going over and over and over. When I hit stop, it's going to stay with the last version of the recording that I did. That'll make sense if it's not making sense after we do it, okay? All right, so first of all, I have to set the range that I'm going to record. It's going to be these same 4 bars that I've been doing for everything. So I click on any one of these pieces just to set the interval that I'm going to loop record on. And now I think I'm ready to go, all right? So let's give it a try. Let's see if I can get this in at least the first 2 or 3 takes. I hit record. It's waiting for me to hit play. Okay, here we go. I need you right now. 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 Okay, that was good enough for me. So let's see what that sounds like. It's going to sound pretty ridiculous, and that's all right. If you're not willing to make yourself look like an idiot, really, you're not ready to take the risk to actually create something new, because that's always a risk that you're just going to look like a big doofus. Okay? All right, so let's listen to it. I need you right now. I need you right now. Okay, I can live with that. So let me now show you a couple of techniques that are used really often, especially in hip-hop, when you're dealing with vocals. All right? So let's listen to this by itself. I need you right now. I need you right now. Okay, so what are some things I can do to make this sound a little bit more like the loop in the actual song? Well, let's listen to Kanye do his thing so I can be a little more intelligent about how I imitate his voice and the production values that we use to get the sound of his voice. Okay, so what's going on to get that sound? First of all, there's a delay on there. If you listen, you can hear it like, I need you right now, now. There's one of those echo things. It also sounds a little bit like he is singing, I need you right now, through one of those like megaphones, like, I need you right now, one of those. That's actually an effect that's usually called overdrive or distortion. It's the same kind of thing that's actually done to a guitar, like in metal music, right? You plug it into an amp and you put up your distortion, and you get that like power chord kind of thing going on, rock and roll, right? All right, so let's do that. Couple things we can do. First, we're going to put a couple effects on here. We are going to put a plugin called, under Harmonic, Sans Amp PSA 1. Okay, this is a virtual guitar amp. And if you're a guitar player, if you've seen a guitar amp, you might recognize some of these knobs that are on most guitar amps. Okay, what I'm going to do is go to this drive knob right here, and I'm going to turn it up a little bit, something like that. And let's just listen to what that does to the voice. Oh, we're actually listening to Kanye, sorry. Okay, we'll mute that guy. Let's just listen to the voice soloed here with this effect on it now. It was muted. I knew that. Now we're going to hear it for real.
I need you right now.
Okay, it's getting that kind of like megaphone sound.
I need you right now.
Okay, that sounded pretty good. Now the next thing I'm going to do is put an EQ on this. So I'm going to go to the next slot down here underneath the Sans amp, and I'm going to do plug-in EQ, and I'm going to do the 4-band EQ this time. Okay. This is kind of called like, sorry for like coughing and being all phlegmy during this whole thing. I'm kind of sick, so sorry about that. This is an effect that sometimes is called like the distorted radio effect or the distorted telephone effect. It sounds a little bit like he's calling in to the song, like, I need you right now, like on a telephone, like kind of a bad telephone. So in order to do that, to emulate the sound of a telephone, one thing that we can do is cut out almost all of the low frequencies. So here's how we're going to do this. Look at these little blue in lights down here. Click them off. Turn them off. Off. All of them off. Okay. Now these two guys up here, we're going to put in. Now what this allows us to do is cut both the low frequencies and the high frequencies, both ends of the frequency spectrum, to give ourselves a kind of like a lo-fi sort of sound. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to come to this knob right here, which is called Q, and we're going to lift this up all the way. And if you want, you can play with this a little bit afterwards, and you'll see why I'm saying this. But basically, this is just going to control the shape of the curve. And then I can grab these little dots, and I can pull them over, right? Incidentally, that's what the Q did. It was just actually changing the shape of that line. So I want it to be as steep as possible. And I'm going to pull this line in until we're about something like right here, so the dot's about over 500. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my high-pass filter. So the right-hand side here, I'm going to pull this until my dot is over about maybe 4K, something like that. All right? Now let's see what that does to it.
I need you right now.
It makes it kind of sound like a telephone or bad radio.
I need you right now.
And then the last thing we want to do is put that delay on there, that now. We've already seen one of those from our last little episode of this show, that is the Stronger Beat Making Kitchen Table series. And so we're going to put a delay on here again. We're going to make it a long delay mono. We only have one side of this delay this time as opposed to the last video because we only have one channel, mono. Alright, so I'm going to put the feedback up to about 37%, something like that. Put the meter at quarter note, so it's going to go now, like that, along with my 1, 2, 3, 4 normal counting. And I'm going to put my mix to about 35%, and let's see what that sounds like.
I need you right now.
Sounds good.
I need you right now.
Now let's hear that with the rest of everything else.
I need
After hour work
sounds pretty good. Sounds really similar to the original one. One more thing that I can suggest you try before you can say, hey, you know what? I am a certified Kanye imitator. Whatever he's got, I got. I can do that too. Whatever with his big, like, high-paid mansion, whatever. I can do that. I could make that beat. I can say, I need you right now. Ain't no thing. All right, so the one more thing that we can do is a little bit of mixing. Mixing is when we take the relative volumes of our different tracks, our different instruments, and raise them or lower them in order to get them to be in balance with each other. So in order to do that, I'm going to hit Command equals, and I get to this, my mix window. You can also get it here from your window, and you can select mix, but I find it's much easier to toggle back and forth with Command equals, which is going to go back and forth between your mix window and your edit window. So here's my mix window. So I can decide, for example, maybe this is kind of a little much, too much Daft Punk. I'm going to turn down Daft Punk. Maybe a little too much of my Kanye imitation. Maybe a little less synth. Maybe a little more kick. So we can just keep kind of adjusting this until we think we're at about the right level for all these different things, okay? And then once we've done that, we can officially say, hey, I have successfully imitated this tune. And in doing so, I've learned all the kind of skills that Kanye's beat maker, whoever that was, whether that was Kanye himself or his producer, I don't know. I've really got pretty much all the skills that that person had, at least when it comes to making this particular sample. All right, congratulations, everybody. You've done it. You're done.